Okay, well, welcome everyone to our Sunday Zoom. I am so excited. We're going to change things up a little bit tonight because we have the amazing Dr. Candace Corson here to be our host. Dr. Corson received both her college degree and her medical degree from Yale University. She completed her residency in family medicine at the University of Rochester, New York. She and her husband, George, both served as non-commissioned officers in the United States Public Health Service in North Carolina. Dr. Corson later went into integrative medicine after studying nutritional therapy to help patients recover much better from chronic illness like asthma and autoimmune disease. She is a national health educator on nutrition and health recovery and environmental illness. Welcome, Dr. Corson.
Thank you so much, Patricia. Thank you for hosting this call. We are so fortunate tonight to have four wonderful people who have volunteered their time, their energy, and their effort to share their health stories tonight. I'm so excited to hear their stories once more and to share them out to the world. And I just want to say that, I got the chance to hear about this concept of concentrated plants for supporting the human body, concentrated plants as food, the vegetables and the fruits that none of us really realized in the past how important they were. But I got the chance to hear about it 24 years ago. A good friend took the time to call and tell me about it from his heart. And I still did not pay attention. I didn't have the knowledge to know why it would be so important. And I couldn't imagine that anyone in my family would need something like that to concentrate extra vegetables and fruits into our daily intake to help our bodies. I didn't think we needed that. And it sounded fluffy to me. And I was kind, but I just went on my way, did not pay attention. And years went by, and as is so often the case, we get our eyes opened when someone near and dear to us is in trouble with their health. And that is what happened. I had motivated patients who were getting healthier because I'd had the opportunity to really study nutrition that we did not get in medical school. And I really went after it and started studying it. Went to Seattle and studied with wonderful MDs who used nutritional therapy and watched these highly motivated patients getting healthy from chronic inflammatory illnesses, autoimmune problems, high blood pressure, and the list goes on. And all of a sudden, my beautiful, healthy children lost their resilience and their immune strength. And that all happened around the issue of vending machines. It sounds so simple, but that's what happened. Their nutritional metabolic programming changed, their taste changed, and they stopped eating plant foods. And within 4 months, my 15-year-old had developed exercise-induced asthma that he never had any trace of prior to that. My 13-year-old was getting recurrent bronchitis, moderately severe acne, and a host of things for which antibiotics were being prescribed. And that's when the third person took the time to share with me and ask if I was open to seeing the clinical medical research on Juice Plus, this whole concept of concentrated plant foods of high quality and broad spectrum. And I was open. I'm so glad that wonderful person was Susan Wittenbach, Carrie Balin's mother. And it has just been such a blessing. This was 16 years ago. It just happens that the program was new then, but it's going to keep on going. The Children's Free Program, the Children's Health Study, largest epidemiologic study of its kind ever done, looking at the impact of adding this whole plant spectrum of food to children and families' nutrition every day. And it's free for the children. And we did get our kids started. My son today, 15 years later, is in the emergency room, but he's an emergency room physician, and he truly has not had a diagnosis of asthma or needed inhalers in the 15 years he's been using Juice Plus full time. He's a believer, and he knows that nutrition makes a huge difference. That's enough about me. I've just been so loving watching people's health get better in ways that go beyond what we can do with only drugs and surgery. There's a time and place for those. It's very special. But by itself, without the nutritional repair, we don't see the results that we do when we add all that together. So I want to thank all these four women for taking time in their very busy lives to share what they've experienced in their lives and their health. And we'll start with Andy Kennedy, who is from Steamboat Springs, Colorado. She is a 2-time published author, a writer and a blogger, calligrapher and photographer. And she is a Reiki and crystal master, a master gardener, and a former marketing director for the Yampa Valley Sustainability Council. She left her job in 2016 to pursue the ability to share Juice Plus actually as a full-time business venture with her husband, Craig, and it really is because of her profound health experience. So Andy, thank you so much for sharing with us tonight.
Hey guys, I'm sorry if it's a little louder in here than it should be. I'm in a Starbucks in Canada, and just to follow up on what Candace was saying, we've kind of taken our road show on the road, and it is all because of the amazing Juice Plus journey that we've been on. Can you, Patricia, I can see you. Can you hear me okay? Can you nod
I
for
can
me?
hear you just fine.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Good.
Okay, great, guys. Thanks. So, really, my story started, a long time ago. But where I started is that 9 years ago. My husband went on Juice Plus, ironically, right about the time that my inflammation started to kick in. So even though I did start to take it with him back then, almost right away, I had to go back off of it because I didn't understand what Juice Plus was, and neither did my naturopathic doctor. And so I went off of Juice Plus right away. I always wonder what could have happened if I stayed on it. But I needed the story that I have so that I could share this with you guys. And I feel so honored. Thank you, Candace and Carrie and Patricia, because this is why we do this, right? So really, the inflammation was something we couldn't put a name on. We thought it was psoriatic arthritis. It was in my hands and my feet and my neck. And it was pretty severe. I remember saying, I couldn't open this jar because of my crippled hands, which is a horrible thing to say around my husband who's in a wheelchair. So ironic. But anyway, fast forward 6-7 years, I was on multiple elimination diets for this pain that we really couldn't diagnose. I was on a gut and psychology syndrome diet, the specific carbohydrate diet, an anti-inflammatory diet, and no sugar. I mean, on and on and on. And that was frustrating. I'd lost the joy of eating. I'd lost going out to eat. It was one of those where you don't know what else to do. And I definitely hit a wall. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. But my dear friend Lori Agner shared Juice Plus with me, and I'd already knew about it because of Craig, but we didn't know what he was taking. He was taking it for bone density, and he wasn't getting sick. But I didn't know what Juice Plus could do for me. So thankfully, I listened. And the thing that really clicked for me was I heard Dr. Paul Williams say that Juice Plus was safe for everybody, no matter what, it's safe. And that really, for me, it came at a time when my thyroid was kind of the last thing to go. I had psoriasis, I had bad gum health, there were all these other things that now looking back have really healed because of Juice Plus, which is amazing. But I finally was ready, I guess. And that shifted in hearing what Dr. Paul Williams said. And I mean, the healing happened for me like that. Within a month, I was sleeping better. I had more energy. My gums stopped bleeding. Of course, the dentist noticed that. But of course, the biggest thing was the inflammation went away. And I went off of my thyroid meds almost immediately. Within 4 months, I was off Synthroid. And I know that everybody is different. So I'm not saying that if you have, I was actually diagnosed with Hashimoto's, which is the autoimmune thyroid disorder. And that's a pretty severe diagnosis. My mother had her thyroid out. I was tested for genetic DMT-HFR gene. It was triggered. And now I know that, Juice Plus is protecting my genes from getting worse. And obviously, my body's getting better. The psoriasis is almost gone. I mean, all these other things, the gum health, big sugar addiction too. That's pretty much gone. I mean, I'll still eat sugar, but I don't crave it. And I try not to eat sugar because it's inflammatory. So the other thing is that my body is craving better food, like everybody says. And I'm also I'm also wanting to eat better because I feel better. And I know the difference in that. I think Juice Plus makes us really aware of our bodies. And I am really aware of what I put into my body now. So I believe that the body knows how to heal itself if we give it the right tool. And for me, Juice Plus was the right tool. And I feel better at 43 than I felt in my 20s or my 30s. So that to me, it's amazing. So thank you guys for this. That's my story.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Andy. And what a triumph. I mean, you're on a huge trip. You're in Canada. You needed to go to a Starbucks to get internet. I mean, just thank you so much for doing this. Yeah, really appreciate you.
Yeah, it's
Next,
for, all the people that need it, right? So thanks, Candace.
Absolutely. Next, we'll go to Amanda Burge, who is a CrossFit coach, a gym owner, and she is from Fort Wayne, Indiana. She is a head women's collegiate soccer coach and a college professor. She is married for the last 13 years. She has 2 sons, age 7 and 8. She is passionate about food, whole food education, and wellness, and encouraging others to reach their best in their health and their life. And Amanda, your story has touched me so deeply. Thank you for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. A lot of people have asked me, why are you so okay with sharing your story? Why are you so open about the junk that you've been through? And I say, because if I can make a difference, that makes it worthwhile. That makes the last 17 years make a little more sense. So I'd like to paint just a real quick picture of what life used to look like. I'm sitting here in a sweatshirt, workout clothes, and my hair all thrown up because I can actually work out again, which is incredible. But when I was a senior in high school, I was actually diagnosed by Mayo Clinic with an autonomic disorder. So all of those automatic things in our bodies that we take for granted, heart rate, blood pressure, breathing, blinking, skin functioning the way that it should, blood flowing the way that it should, the things we don't think about. My brain and heart don't communicate correctly. And I have actually shut off machines before they changed the batteries, thinking the battery died. And what actually happened was climbing one flight of stairs, my heart rate escalated so high that it actually shut off the machine. Apparently they can only count to 240 and then they quit. And that's where I was at 17 years old. And life was tough. I spent some time at Vanderbilt. I spent some time at Cleveland Clinic, stabbing chest pains. I was passing out all the time in my dorm room and trying to play collegiate soccer at the same time. And it was very, very difficult. They had painted a picture for me of, someday you may not make it from the couch to the fridge or the couch to the restroom. You'll never be able to have children. Your heart will not handle that type of stress. By the grace of God, I met a doctor who was willing to go ahead and give us the green light to get pregnant. And God protected me and blessed us with 2 wonderful boys that are 7 and 8 now. The second one did nearly kill me, but God had bigger plans for my life. And we were able to hang on. We actually had to choose hospitals between which one had a better NICU for him and which one had a better ICU for me. And it was pretty scary there for a little bit. Fast forward several years, in 2015, my brain crashed, and that was only 2 years ago. And I was actually half paralyzed for 4 months. The right side of my brain, my cerebellum right here, what doctors said was, it got tired. It's exhausted from trying to control things in your body that it just can't control anymore. You've been at this at the time for 15 years. And it's just done. It needs a break. And I was like, awesome. Like, way to not be selfish, brain. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I actually lost the left side of my body. So full function and full feeling, it just gone, all of it. At the same time, another part of my brain, the hippocampus, decided to check out. And I lost 12 years of my memory, including all of college, being engaged, married, having both of my children, pregnancy, all of that. So I live with these 3 boys, and I know I love them, and I know it's my husband and my kids, but I didn't know why they were in my house. And so that was tough. And I spent 6 months in very intensive vestibular therapy. and through that was able to get my brain back on track. But I was still suffering from passing out all the time. I was still suffering from the things that I had been dealing with before. And then in October of that same year, 2015, I was introduced to Juice Plus by a friend of mine at our CrossFit gym, and it was a game changer, point blank. So my functional neurologist made a huge difference in my life, and then Juice Plus just pushed everything over the edge. We started because we thought, our kids aren't eating enough fruits and vegetables. Why not? Like, literally, what do we have to lose? I had never given my health a thought because my body was addicted to pharmaceuticals for 17 years. I could tell within a half hour in the morning if I hadn't taken my medication. And that was tough. That was really, really tough. And so 6 weeks in, I guess I skipped part of it, for a 10-year period. So back up from October, 10 years previous to that, I suffered from what's called pericarditis. So the lining in the wall of my heart is inflamed and actually could rub against my rib cage, which you can imagine how painful that is. Shooting pains up over my shoulder, down my left arm. So I was on 2 to 4 leave every day for 10 years just to try to get through the day. And I was killing my organs. I'm an educated person. I knew that wasn't safe, but I didn't have an option. And so 6 weeks into Juice Plus, I ran out of a leave, and I thought, hey, let's give this stuff a run for its money. Like, I feel good, I have energy, my skin looks better and all of that. But I was still taking my heart medication, and I thought, you know what, let's try this. And since November of 2015, I have not taken a single leave, haven't needed one. I just had major shoulder surgery 6 months ago from a CrossFit injury. Yes, CrossFit's dangerous, but that was my fault. They actually put a hamstring in my shoulder to repair it. And the doctor said, the weird thing is you have a very high grade AC joint separation, but there's no inflammation in your shoulder. And I don't understand that. And I just started laughing, and I said, I know exactly why I don't have any, because I don't have inflammation in my body because of, and he's like, you got to tell me more, even just about the business model. He's like, I need in on this stuff. So then the week after surgery, my mom came over. She was super helpful, taking care of the boys and helping me. And she gave me my heart medication every day. This was this past October. And after she left the house, I thought, let's really, I had already built my belief. I had been sharing Juice Plus with people for a year, almost a year and a half at that point. And I thought, you know what, let's just see. And that was, like I said, in the first part of November, and I have not taken a single heart medication since then. So addicted, body dependent on it for 17 years, and I have had nothing since October, which is a huge blessing for us. My brain, in fact, has gotten so much more back on track. I wasn't able to drive in the rain because I couldn't handle the complexity of windshield wipers. And I just drove in the rain last weekend for the first time in 2.5 years. And so my husband called me. He's like, babe, pull over. You're not gonna be able to do this. And I was like, no, really, I think I'm okay. Like, I can still feel my left arm. I can still feel the left side of my face. I think I'm fine. He's like, are you serious? And I go, yeah. I said, I'll call you if I get in trouble, but I think I'm fine. And literally made it all weekend in torrential downpour in the Midwest. We're getting dumped on without any issues. And I attribute all of this to 3 things. 1, the functional neurologist got my brain back on track. The Lord knew all of this was going to happen, and he has been an incredible healer for me. And these crazy little fruits and vegetables and capsules have literally changed my life. And again, just like you heard from Andy, at 35, I feel better than I did at 16. And I'm in better shape than I was at 16. And I have nothing else to blame it on other than the power of micronutrients.
One of the things, I'll just say a little bit here because we have 2 more amazing people to share, but people can wonder, how could this happen? Like, is there a mechanism? Well, there are many mechanisms. I just want to touch on one here because people are learning so much now about the microbiota, the little good germs inside of us that are elegant, sophisticated, multiple species, maybe 1,000, maybe more. And we know that we're losing those today because of too many exposures to antibiotics and in our food stream and our water and repeated exposures. But bottom line, we know that plants form the basic food foundation for the good germs to thrive in our interior, in our inner ecosystem. And it takes a wide range of them because all the different species require different kinds of plants. That's the way that nature set it up, that different plants would serve different populations. So as we use this wide, I call it a rainbow of whole plant nutrients, these good germs, not only do we feed our own body with these nutrients, but these good germs get fed, and that forms a powerful prebiotic function, PRE. The prebiotic function is one of the most powerful things. More normalcy, more elegance, more balance, more precision. So it's a real deal, and it's very powerful. Thank you for sharing, Amanda. Next, we have Lisa Walker, who's taken time from a big trip herself. And Lisa, you and your husband, Gene, live in Newton, North Carolina, have 3 grown children and a brand new daughter-in-law. Lisa had spent a lifetime battling multiple health issues, and she stumbled across Juice Plus 3 years ago. She has served for 17 years in full-time ministry and devoted to children and recently to women. She's an author, a vocalist, trainer, and speaker for children's events and women's conferences and retreats, and is passionate about partnering with others to help them learn to embrace their own personal journeys and create a life that they love living. Thank you for joining us, Lisa.
Thanks. First of all, I want to thank everybody for the opportunity to get to be with you tonight and to share my story, and hopefully it will be an inspiration to someone on our call tonight. So growing up, we were not a very healthy family. Our diet consisted mostly of processed foods, fried foods, and if we did have vegetables, they were usually cooked to death and lots of fat added to them. And as we were growing up, my father was a very controlling individual, and every time we had a meal, he insisted that everything be eaten on our plate, whether we were hungry or not, or whether we liked the meal, because, you know, there's starving people in other countries. And so by the time I got to upper elementary, I had a very unhealthy relationship with food. And that followed me into my college years as a music major. My diet consisted a lot of from items from vending machines and fast food, and I really had no idea what healthy looked like. And so by the time I had gotten married and had 3 small children, serving in ministry full time and just keeping up this fast pace, all of a sudden one day it seemed like everything came crashing down around me. And I just couldn't keep up a happy face for everyone anymore. I had lost myself. My health was a wreck. I struggled even to get out of bed every day. I was 292 pounds, depressed, diabetic, and honestly, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I'm sure many of you tonight have heard the saying that people change either because they learn enough that they want to, or they hurt enough that they have to. And I definitely had not learned anything better as far as nutrition and health, but deep down I heard enough that I was desperate for change. And that's when Juice Plus came into our life. And in our picture, a friend of mine had posted on Facebook that she was placing orders for Juice Plus if anyone was interested. And I had never heard of it. I had no idea what it was. But I reached out to her, and that began a several-day conversation about the power of fruits and vegetables and why we needed Juice Plus. And for our family, I knew that Juice Plus made sense to me because I knew my family didn't get 9 to 13 servings of raw whole foods any day in our diet, let alone every day. And I knew that my family desperately needed to get healthier alongside of me. Both of my sons were athletes, continue to be collegiate athletes. And my daughter, I noticed, was beginning to develop some of the same habits that I had developed over the years. And I could see myself in her. And I just wanted a different life for them than what I'd had. And so we decided that we would add Juice Plus to our family's diet. And I had no idea at all what that yes would mean for us. My product results were almost immediate, and we were shocked, honestly, if I'm honest. The very first day I started Juice Plus, my fasting blood sugar was 248. And if you know anything about diabetes, you know that's not good. And the first day I added the trio capsules and a complete shake, and I started out on this whole new journey of taking one step at a time and making one simple change at a time by trying to eat cleaner and drink more water, and just the whole mission of Juice Plus as a whole. And so day 1 it was 248, but day 2 it was 156, and day 3 it was 110, and day 4 it was 111. And so I packed up all of my Juice Plus, and I called my doctor and made an appointment and took it with me. And bless his heart, when I think back to that day, it's almost amusing. When he came in the room, I kind of just pounced on him right away and started sharing with him everything that I knew. And the poor fella, he entertained me. You know, he read the labels and he asked a few questions, and he looked at me and said, I don't know, but keep doing what you're doing. And I noticed that my husband's blood work, his blood pressure, his triglycerides, his cholesterol, all had improved in just 2 months. And my sons had noticed that they were not as sore after their workouts. And so here we are 3 years down the road, and I have so much to be thankful for. You just don't even know. I have more energy. I have my life back. I'm off of both of my short or fast-acting insulin and the long-acting insulin. I'm off both of those completely. I've lost over 90 pounds now. Our family went from going to the doctor like 4 times each a year to going to the doctor twice collectively in 3 years. And my husband this past week was just told by his doctor that they're taking him off of one of his medications completely and cutting the other one in half. And I just have to be honest, we will never go without our Juice Plus. We have gone from a place of desperation to a place of hope and promise. And I've discovered that health is not a destination. Health is a journey, and it's a journey that we're all on. And because of Juice Plus and friends that I made in this wonderful company, I've learned how to embrace my journey and to use my experience to help others and inspire them to take their health one simple step at a time so that they can create a life that they love living too. And our family will be forever grateful for the changes that Juice Plus has brought into our life.
Lisa, thank you so much for sharing. You know, as a medical doctor, and I can't wait for my husband to get to hear this recording, you know, insulin is so important because it keeps a person alive hour to hour, day to day, and it's the most important thing a diabetic who's insulin dependent needs. But after that, the next most important thing is to reduce and prevent the complications, and those are caused by massive oxidative stress, massive inflammation, and the nutrition piece is the most important piece in diabetes. So you have really shared the power of that, and I just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And our last speaker, I'm just so grateful that you've taken time to join us. Laura, you are inspiration to all who know you. Laura Forney of Fair Lawn, New Jersey, has overcome a lifetime of health challenges to be the voice of inspiration for others to find healing and disease prevention for their families. She is very active and passionate as she's a certified health coach, demonstrating to people of all ages the power of whole food nutrition. With her own personal story, knowledge, and accreditation in the field of health, her heart and determination to make an impact in this world, Laura is leading many people to a better life and has no plans of stopping. Thank you, Laura, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So I was introduced to Juice Plus about a year ago. And that was shortly after my 9th spinal surgery. I was born with spina bifida occulta, but I was asymptomatic until I got in a car accident in 2002. I was losing feeling in my bladder and down my leg. So the doctor ordered an MRI, and they found out that I had a tethered spinal cord. So I needed to have surgery. My spinal cord was being tethered by a fatty tumor. So they had to dig out my spinal cord and my nerves and release it from that tumor. I had many complications. I had many surgeries due to spinal leakages, to only find out that in 2015 that it was not done correctly and that my spinal cord retethered and I had to have another surgery, which led to more complications, spinal leakages, bleeding on my brain, infection in my spinal fluid. And I was in the hospital a month, and when I came home, I was in severe chronic pain. My nerves were very irritated, and I just thought I was going to be a cranky mommy on the couch forever. And the doctors told me that I just needed to find the right cocktail of medication to make me comfortable, and I would probably be on them for life. So I was on about 8 medications for pain and depression. But I was on Facebook one day and I saw a picture of the Tower Garden, and I just knew I had to have that thing. I always loved gardening, and the thought of growing organic, non-GMO produce for my family, and I didn't have to bend and weed, it was just exhilarating to me. So I said, I need that thing. And she had told me that there was a product called Juice Plus, that it was fruits and veggies in a capsule. My kids could get their gummies for free. And I said, oh, sure, why not? You know, I tried everything. At that point, I felt like I tried everything. So yeah, just sign me up for these fruits and veggies. So I got my tower, brought me lots of joy. I started to take my capsules, and in a few weeks, I was starting to feel better. I had more energy, less pain. So I told my doctors I wanted to start coming off of some of my medications, and they didn't understand why, because I was finally feeling okay, but I didn't know if it was the cocktail of medications or if it was the Juice Plus. So with each decrease in medication, I was feeling great. So I knew it was the Juice Plus. But at one of my doctor visits, they had told me I was severely anemic and that I was for a while. It was never caught, even after 9 back surgeries. And that it was so low I had to see a hematologist. So I did. I listened to what he said. I got iron infusions for a few weeks. At that point, I had only started Juice Plus. He said to come back in 3 to 4 months to see if I can maintain the 10.2 hemoglobin level that I was able to get up to. Well, I came back after 3 months. So I was on Juice Plus for 4 months at this point, and he gave me this funny face, and he said, what have you been doing? And I said, why? He said, your hemoglobin count went up to a 14.6, and that's even higher than right after your iron infusions. And I said, well, I'm taking Juice Plus, and he smiled, and he said, keep doing what you're doing. So at that point, I was even more convinced that Juice Plus was just amazing. But my husband gets diagnosed with this rare skin disease called lymphomatoid papulosis, and he wasn't taking Juice Plus at the time I was. My kids were, but I don't know. For some reason, he wasn't. So I told him to start taking my capsules to double up. I knew it was safe to do because it was just fruits and vegetables. It's non-toxic. There's no synthetics, nothing. And they wanted him to come back in 4 weeks to get a bigger biopsy of one of his bumps once it grew larger. Well, he was taking his Juice Plus, and in 4 weeks, he went back, and there was nothing to biopsy. So I knew I had to tell everybody that I knew about Juice Plus. So my family and friends have all seen great, amazing results. And I'm happy to say that I'm off of almost all of my medications. And I'm a fully functioning, happy mommy, wife, and certified health coach. So I hope my story inspires others to take your health into your own hands, and that it's okay to feel amazing.
Oh, Laura, I can't wait to watch this whole thing over with all of you, because thank you so much. This has just been such a joy. And, you know, we're all in this together. It does not take a health certification to share the power of fruits and vegetables and berries. It's there. It is unprecedented research, 37 published university studies now of what Juice Plus does for the human body. I love that it doesn't do anything to the human body. It does many things for the human body. And it is what Hippocrates said 2,000 years ago, let food be our medicine, let medicine be our food. So I want to thank everybody for taking time to listen tonight. I just couldn't be more thrilled. I'll keep doing this as long as I can, and I get to meet wonderful people like yourselves who take time to share and care and offer hope and knowledge and inspiration. And really, it starts with families. I love that this is free for children. It just touches so many lives around the world. So thank you so much. And Patricia, thank you for doing this for us tonight.
You're awesome.